Hey, this is Michael Rosenbaum.
Hey guys, Tom Welling. Look, we've both played heroes.
And we both played villains. But in the real life, there are no reshoots, no stuntmen, or sequels.
We all make mistakes. We're all human.
Making one bad decision can not only land you in jail, but could also put yourself and other people around you in serious risk.
Be smart, make a plan, catch a ride, stay put.
Don't let a high moment turn into a lifetime of regret. This holiday season, be your own hero. If you feel different, you drive different. Drive high, get a DUI.
Paid for by NHTSA.
Happy holidays! Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.
This is your Chargers linebacker, Deion Henley, and you're tuning in with Chargers Unleashed.
Welcome to another edition of Chargers Unleashed. Jake Hefner and Dan Wolkenstein here with you from the LAFB Network. If this is your first time tuning in the show, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Dan Wolkenstein. Dan? Are you still coming down off the high from Monday night football?
Oh, yeah.
The weirdest, wildest, drunkest game, and not from a standpoint of inebriation. Just what the hell was that? But no matter which way you slice it, it ends up with a Chargers victory. Now sitting at 9-4, now gearing up to play the Kansas City Chiefs in a very pivotal week again as they go for the second game of their last stretch of this gauntlet towards the playoffs. Dan Wolkenstein, how are you, sir?
Man, I don't know about you. I needed that walk out of SoFi back to the car to help bring my nerves down. I was exhausted. I didn't play a damn snap, and I was exhausted. Chargers miraculously win Monday Night Football in overtime, 22-19. By the grace of God, Justin Herbert, Cameron Dicker, and that defense, which we'll talk about all of it. Justin Herbert with the bionic arm or hand and all goes absolutely, I mean, I don't want to say God mode, but just gutted that thing out at the end when nothing was working, which we'll talk about all of it. But I think the big story here is the Chargers won that game that realistically, if you're looking at half the football, they had no business winning that game. And the defense kept him in it. Justin's legs kept him in it. The crowd at times kept him in it. Jake, you and I were both in attendance. But they beat a damn good team. And people want to poo-poo the Eagles all they want. Doesn't matter. That was by far the grittiest, most surprising, gutsiest, say what you will, game of the year for me. And I thought it was a wrap 3 different times in the third, fourth quarter, overtime, for many reasons. But man, does it feel good. And sure, I guess you can say I was wrong in predicting the Chargers to lose that game. Flame me for it. I don't think anybody expected the Chargers to win the game when your quarterback is getting absolutely flamed, when your receivers can't get any separation, when Greg Roman decides to not run as much as he should. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why that game should not have been a win. But if you want to say you predicted a win, so you got it, whatever. Enough about me, Jake. I know we've had some technical difficulties. I apologize for the audio issues if we have any. But Jake, you were in attendance as well. Folks in the chat, if you were in attendance, put a hand up, put a bold sign if you were, all that jazz. Jake, how are you feeling, and what's kind of your top storyline from this game right now?
Yeah, the audio issues came from me. As you can clearly see, I don't have my microphone in front of me. I don't have my headphones on top of me. So apologies, A, for being the cause of us being late. 2, if I sound like shit on your guys' end, apologies once again. Dan, we were surrounded by Eagles fans in our section. Some nice, some that was right on par of what I expected from Eagles fans. So it was a little bit of a mixed bag. It felt eerily similar to me to how the Raider game started, because Chargers on that first drive, it's the Omarion Hampton, Kamani Vidal law firm that was officially open for business. You see what Kamani Vidal does on a screen pass, takes it 60 yards. Omarion Hampton finishes it off with a nice touchdown pass from Justin Herbert. And so you're like, okay, we're starting off fast, even with Justin Herbert with with 1.5 hands out there, even with an offensive line that's allowing pressures continuously. It's a good start. And then you see, just leading up to halftime, it was more of the same type of storyline as that was for that Raider game. It was a fast start, first offensive drive, and then mistake. Still defense keeping you in it, still keeping it close. And in reality, Dan, and we've said this for the last several weeks, even going back to the bye, the defense is going to carry this team the rest of the way. That will not change. And you talk about a gritty defensive performance when it was basically like, who's going to stop turning the ball over more is who's going to win this game, is what it came down to. But for the Chargers defense, and Dan, we talked about this in our preview show for the Eagles, and you had talked about it specifically. Eagles are the number 1 red zone defense when they get in there. When they get inside the 20, they score. They put offense, 7 on the board. Yes. Offense. When they get in the red zone, they score.
Were they 0-2?
On 11 drives that the Eagles had, the Chargers defense either forced a punt, forced a turnover, or held them to field goals. The only 2 times that they got inside the 20 on their drives, you held them to 3 points, and of course you ended the game in overtime with the turnover. Think about this. The first drive that they got in there during regulation, the ball was on the 2-yard line. And you held them to 3 points. And then, of course, when you're driving overtime on the 17, Cam Hart, which we'll talk about a lot in this recap show, comes up with just another huge play with the ball tip to Unk to end the game. Hell of a defensive effort by a number of different players. That was a hard-fought, gritty win that we've seen so many people talk about it. That's not a game that the Chargers win under a different regime.
The Chargers know how that story ends. Chargers don't get nice things like that. I don't think there was a single Chargers fan who was confident at the end of that game. And if you're saying you were, I think you're lying, because you got no reason to, other than if you're pure hopium injected the veins. But yeah, you're right, Jake. That was not a game the Chargers win. That was a game the Chargers lose 14 different ways. But they didn't. Somehow they didn't. Jake, a lot of lightning bolts in the chat. A lot of folks were there. And that was a fun atmosphere, man. That was a lot of fun. And you were surrounded by Eagles fans in your area. I would say, honestly, I think on the home side, Chargers fans probably outnumbered 60-40. On the opposing side, it was probably 55-45, 60-40 the other way. So, like, it's somewhere between 55-45 one way or the other. But honestly, compared to where things were years ago at SoFi, that's impressive. Going up against Super Bowl champs to have that showing compared to the probably 80-20, 90-10 split that we'd seen at the first few games of SoFi with fans in it. That was fun. And you could tell from the jump. I mean, that was chaotic. That was anxiety-ridden, anxiety-inducing. That was all the emotional roller coasters you can ride on. Like, that was it. But that was a playoff football atmosphere. Like, that's how playoff football goes. It's weird. Shit happens, and you just got to roll with it. And the Chargers rolled with it. I literally was speechless. I went with a buddy of mine, and with that last few minutes, right? All of our emotions were gone. Like, I don't know about you guys in the chat, but like, that had everything. So we'll get into all of it. Jake, before we get to all of that, we do got to pay the bills. We should talk about our friends over at Sleeper. We got voicemails here. Yes, I believe Athir did come in with a voicemail. Yes. If you want to say Athir was right, go for it. Athir predicted that Justin was going to get sacked 7 times, throw for 500 yards, 4 touchdowns. Chargers defense dominates. He's predicted all of it. The guy is 100% accurate with everything he says. But Jake, before we get to that, let's talk about our friends over at Sleeper.
By the way, what time did you get home from the Monday night game?
After the In-N-Out stop, 11:40-ish.
Yeah, that's about the same time that I got.
What about you? Same? Okay.
Yeah, about the same. So needless to say, I didn't get much sleep on Monday. But for those of you who are looking for sleep, look for Sleeper, because the NFL season is gearing towards the playoffs, which means you now have the chance to win up to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football with Sleeper. Football has never been more exciting than it is right now, with players like Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Pick on these stats for these stars like touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. Get your picks right, and you could win big. Just make sure to use the promo code CHARGERSLAFB, and you could win up to $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper terms of use for details. Currently operating in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today.
Jake, got the voicemail hotline, and I think I got a chance to listen to a couple of these. There were too many, so I just picked a few at random, honestly. It felt like emotions were spent. Like, that took years off my life, it felt. But we'll get to these voicemails. They were fun. We'll get to all the recap and all that jazz, kind of the main storylines. You guys know the drill. If you have any questions, thoughts, put them in the chat. Chargers Unleash hotline, 323-902-7586 is the number. Give us a call. Let us know what your thoughts are. Jake, let's start this off with the voicemail, and we will kind of continue on, sprinkle them out throughout the episode as we go through. Let's see if I can find one to start with at random. Here we go.
Jake, Dan, that is the heart of a champion. I'm not sure how far we're going to go in the playoffs, but this win is unbelievable for confidence. All the Warriors on the field, and we know who the true biggest Warrior was tonight. Dear God, just let him rest until Saturday when he wakes up Saturday morning in that frickin' dump town, Kansas City. Time to take them out of their misery behind the shed, take care of them, get them out of the playoffs. Man, even if we could get in, win one, and you know what, roll the dice for more, who knows? Obviously the offensive line, we don't have to say more, but
oh, we're going to say a lot more. Just don't you worry, child.
Dear God, everybody else, what a game plan on the defense. Unbelievable. I have no freaking idea why Philly kept throwing the ball all night, but I guess because they couldn't run too. But, man, we exposed Hurts big time. Huge win. Stacking days, just like Captain Khaki says. Bolt the F up.
Stacking days, like Captain Khaki.
Dan, if you go through this, if we just isolated the offense, none of what took place on Monday Night Football makes any damn sense. The fact that the Chargers got 22 points in this game is still unbelievable in itself, considering what happened. Justin Herbert was sacked a career high 7 times, 21 additional pressures that he was able to go through. His offensive line, surprise, surprise, was terrible.
Outside of Jamari Sawyer,
especially in the middle, whether it was Bradley Bozeman or you didn't think it could be worse, it got worse on the right side of Mekhi Becton. When you have Daniel Popper in real time rage tweeting about how many pressures are coming through the A gap, you've now broken Daniel Popper. Something is legitimately wrong. Justin Herbert being able to barely do anything in the pass game. On top of this, Dan, wide receivers weren't getting open, period. Nope. Why? Because almost every single time the Eagles were just dropping seven. They didn't need to bring the blitz because their front four, and let's not forget, this was without Jalen Carter. They were winning every single time. And it's scary just to think that with Jalen Carter not playing, what would this have looked like if he did? And eventually you get to these drives where it's just like, oh my God, Herbert's down again. You got wide receivers that are literally being jammed into one another and falling on the ground. I mean, nobody was making a play. There was nothing. I kept even hearing it from Philly fans saying, like, why isn't anyone open? And I'm trying to tell them, I was like, there's no time. You guys only are rushing 4. You're dropping 7 every time. There's nobody there for Justin Herbert to throw to. And then when you get in the final 2 drives of this game, one in regulation and one in overtime, Justin Herbert says, fuck this. I'm going to do it myself. 10 rushes for 66 yards, ends up being the team's leading rusher, is stiff arming defenders with a broken hand. That line that you put up there, the Herculean Herbert, that's probably about as appropriate as you can get, given all the elements of the way that game was going. And yes, obviously, your defense kept you in this game. But for what you were able to do offensively, considering how limited it looked, I mean, can Justin Herbert throw the ball? Yes, he can. He threw a great pass earlier on in the game to Trey Harris. There's a great sidearm pass, just right in the breadbasket. But there was another one on the final drive that he had to move outside of the pocket. And it was even good enough that the Philly fan next to me saying, like, that is an unbelievable throw. Given the pressure, given the movement, and where he had to place the ball. It was insane. And I don't know how much more you can talk about this, because you can't laud necessarily the stats, the performance. Even Justin Herbert knows that he didn't play a good game. We can all look at this and say, offensively, they were well below what they should be. But it's gritty wins like this that end up doing something for you in the bigger picture of things. And I'm happy to see that that's what a lot of people have acknowledged in the big picture, that they fully understand now what Justin Herbert is going through. And the fact that this dude had surgery 7 days before this game and is out there taking shot after shot after shot and still finding a way to win. I go back to that quote that Daniel Popper put in his article about Dante Jackson when he came into the facility last Wednesday, fearing the worst as far as whether or not Justin Herbert was going to be able to play. And Herbert says without hesitation, I'm there. We're going to do it. I'll be there. That mindset elevates the rest of the team. It brings something else to the rest of the team to say, this guy's got a broken hand. What am I doing? Let's go.
Now, I think some of the criticism might be going a tad far. Was the interior offensive line great or good? Absolutely not. Like, I'm not saying that they have been remotely good. You do have to somewhat tip your cap to Vic Fangio and to that pass rush.
He knew what he was doing.
Like, it wasn't just like one-on-one getting beat. That happened, right? It's also not get it twisted. Like, they got dudes on that defensive front that we talked about all year long, all week long. They have arguably the best defensive front, even without Jalen Carter. I mean, you saw it. They have arguably the best blitzing linebacker, Nakobe Dean. They have arguably the best cornerback room. You saw that on display. So, like, that, those two things combined, along with one of the best defensive coordinators known to man, to set you up against an offensive line that is not great. I'm not saying they're great, but you were severely outmanned to start. And then you didn't play great, but like some of that was not just on Justin Herbert. Some of that was not just on offensive line. Some of that wasn't just on the tight ends or the running backs. Like, it was a collective effort, and Justin was getting smoked all game. And there's a comment here earlier. I don't know how many other quarterbacks could have done what he did, like, legitimately. I think Mahomes, I've seen Mahomes limp around while he does stuff. I think he would have gotten hurt. I don't think he was big enough for that. I think Josh Allen, maybe that's an archetype. Like, you got to have some beef to be able to withstand what he did. Was the Chargers offensive line good? No. Like, it was pretty bad, but they also went up against a juggernaut with a secondary that could lock you down. Like, Cooper DeJean, that guy is unreal. Quinyon Mitchell, he's a first-round pick for a reason. Like, they got dudes, man. So the fact that they, like, the offense didn't really win that game. Like, Justin Herbert took it on himself to be like, F this. Like, Greg Roman wasn't doing him any favors. Oh, that's for damn sure. So let's talk about the offense first, and then we'll talk about the defense. So I think we can get through some of the woes on offense, some of the highlights as well. But I think, simply put, the offense was just in a neck brace, it felt like. And it wasn't until Justin said, to hell with health, I will take this on my own with one hand, stiff arming with plated hands. I'll keep the RPO that even Greg Roman was surprised. Like, he wasn't supposed to do that. He just took the keys away from the offensive coordinator and said, I will do this. And again, people have been critical of me because I have been critical of Justin at times. Am I so grateful he is a quarterback of this Chargers team? Of course. Is he perfect? And has he made mistakes? Yes. And in that game, he made some mistakes. But one of the things that I've always asked for, and you see some of the greats do this when they're somewhat inhibited by their coordinators or their coaching, is take over. Say no to the coordinator. Say no to the head coach. When you are that good, when you are this tier of skill level, like, we know, and we don't know shit, right? You saw that on display where Justin said, I got this. Like, I am doing this. This is a bad idea. Let me figure this out. But again, he had some blame too. And you ask him, you saw him at the podium today, he talked about it. He said I'm paraphrasing, but it was unfortunate that the offense let the team down. The offense left a lot out there. He missed throws. There were some assignments missed. The pass rush got to him way too much. There's a lot there, but the good, real quick, Jake, the good. Love Omarion Hampton back. Love to see Kamani Vidal get that 60-yard. I thought Penning at times was nice to have in those jumbo packages.
They brought him in a lot.
Yep. Will Dissly, I thought, was good. I actually liked that. I like what I saw from him for the most part. I thought the holding call that he was called on was bogus. But like Ladd, Quentin, Keenan, like, they were locked. Trey Harris had a pretty good game. Ronnie Gadsden, I thought, played pretty good, although there wasn't many opportunities for people. But to me, it's like, Greg Roman, come on, man. Like, stop doing this. And like, if you want to run, if you want to be that team to run, like, do it. This is the game to do it. Like, I don't know. Like, there wasn't much great from the offense aside from Justin Herbert just taking the beating with a smile and continuing on. Like, I don't know, man. That was rough. That was rough. Yes, the Eagles are great, but that was rough.
Early on, they had success getting to the outside. We talked about where the Eagles were weak in terms of how they stack up against the run. It was the outside runs. I think you found success early with that. But eventually, Vic Fangio made his adjustments to where they were not getting outside at all. And this has been one of the criticisms that we have talked about with Greg Roman, is that those in-game adjustments, how do you do that? I like the adjustments he made last week in halftime against the Raiders. Stuck with his guns, stuck with what worked. But when things were not working, like maybe the only benefit that came was out of halftime, even though you only got 3 points on the board, that was a long-ass drive. That took a lot of time off the clock.
It was one of those games where you had to get points by any means necessary. Like, yeah, you want a touchdown, but like you'll take 3.
Of course. But after that initial drive after halftime, leading up to the end of the game before the Chargers ultimately tied it to send it to overtime, you just felt like they were empty, that you had no more plays left. It almost felt like they gave up. It really almost felt that way with just some of the things that they were calling. It didn't make sense. They were getting beat all over the field. There was nothing open for Justin Herbert to throw to. There was no running lanes open. They didn't necessarily have to stack the box, but they were not letting anybody beat them outside anymore.
Nope.
And it's at those moments where you're just watching with clenched fists to say, how is it this bad? Even with Justin Herbert under the circumstances, how is it that we're not creating something different to throw them off defensively, which leads to Justin Herbert calling his own number? I got to tell you, Dan, the fake that he ran to Kamani Vidal when Kamani Vidal went left, because I was on the near side of that field. I'm like, oh shit, play's over. And then all of a sudden I see this helmet moving across the back of the pile of people. I'm like, oh my God, he's still got the ball. Tremendous fake. And again, Justin Herbert just says, I'll do it myself. I got to show him a different wrinkle. I have to have him pay attention to something else. So, I know that we feel like week in and week out, we come on this show and we're just beating a dead horse, or we're a broken record talking about how terrible the offensive line is or offensive game plan. I wish I could tell you that next week against Kansas City, it's going to change. I can't. I wish I could tell you 2 weeks from now against Dallas that it's going to change. I wish I could tell you that 3 weeks from now against Houston, things are going to get better. If the Chargers ultimately make the playoffs, I wish I could stand here and tell you that things are going to get better. But to the very reason that Dan Wolkenstein did not pick the Chargers to win this game, Dan wasn't wrong on his reasoning behind that. The proof is in the box score. Justin Herbert got sacked a career-high 7 times, and that defense was wiping out the offense every opportunity that they could get. It still does not make sense, truly, how the Chargers pulled this one out, but they did it.
Yeah. I was walking out of the stadium, and I was like kind of talking to myself, kind of talking out loud, and I was like, I have no idea how the Chargers won that game. And then like an Eagles fan like walks by and clearly heard me, like deadpans over to me, and it's like, Hurt sucks. Keeps walking. I was like, literally, Hurt sucks, keeps walking. I mean, they were in their feelings, and that is the most gratifying walk out of that stadium when you won, when the other fans are just been chippy all freaking game. I mean, look, there's a lot of folks on Twitter who are just flaming the interior offensive line, which they were not great, but like it wasn't just that. Like Amar Hampton, fresh off the injury, first game back, like he got manhandled a bit on one of those pass pros. Justin missed some signals, I think. I think Justin held on to it a few times too long. Granted, who's going to throw to, I don't know. But like at some point, I'm like, to hell with it. Like you got 3 seconds. If they don't have something by 3 seconds, you got to go somewhere. And it felt like he kind of was staying there sometimes too long. But again, like I can't blame him too much, right? Like that was an absolute clusterfuck for the larger part of 60 minutes, 70 minutes of football. But what the Eagles were doing on defense was actually pretty slick. Like, it was fun. I put out one play. You saw the people kind of talk about it, but like the way they were manipulating and disguising their pass rush to where they were able to bring in 7 when it looked like they were bringing in, they were able to drop back 7, where it looked like they were blitzing 5, maybe 6 people and just confusing the hell out of the Chargers pass rush, pass pro in general, was pretty slick. I mean, they got after Justin, man. He got absolutely torched. And again, they should not have won that game, right? Like, if it wasn't for Cameron Dicker being an absolute freak, just ice cold, stone cold killer, which again, Chargers fans, we're not used to this. Like, some of you might still feel like right now, like, oh yeah, I was so confident he was going to make all those kicks. I didn't even have to watch. I was chilling. Not me, man. I am not. We don't get nice things. We have seen how many times what should be automatic, whether it's the snap gets botched, whether a freaking pigeon comes out of nowhere and hits them. Like, I don't know, man. Nothing surprises me. And for those all to just go in, ho-hum, no big deal. Like, it was just, he's the best kicker I have ever seen as a Chargers fan. And he might go down as the best kicker of all time, like, for this franchise, for sure. And, man, that was nuts. That was nuts. Jake, before we get to the next topic, special teams, we'll keep going because there's some other topics to go there too. Let's hear the next voicemail. I'm sure there's a lot of them, but let's hear the next one.
Dan, Jake.
I don't even have these in. This is on my normal computer speakers right now, which is, again, it's probably why I sound horrible. But this is what I'm normally listening to. That voicemail still sounds loud as shit.
It's not quiet.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
It is not quiet.
How are you guys?
Jake, how are you?
I am great.
I'm great as well there. Thank you so much for calling. Appreciate you tuning in. I'm sure he's going to be so apologetic.
Be ready for it, Dan.
Yours truly. Let's go, Theo. Let's
This
hear
is
it.
Theo. Dan Wolkenstein.
I got the last name.
Oh, man. Oh, it's like, when your parents like middle name you, it's like, I'm about to lay the hammer down on you right now.
Yep. It kind of reminds me of like, dear Dad. And then it's like all of the things, like when you're writing a gym to cancel your membership, where you have to have like a whole paragraph. Dear to whom it may concern, I hate you. That's basically how it comes.
I just wanted to say this to you, brother. Okay? This is a championship defense.
I think I agree with that. Do you agree with that?
Defense is good. Like as we've said, defense is going to have to carry it. They played like a championship defense on
that
Monday night.
Yes.
Yeah.
How about the week before that? Or the week before that?
I mean, it was the Raiders. It's not that big of a needle mover for me. But
Okay.
against Jacksonville, yeah, no.
Indy.
Yeah. So you're not gonna beat them and blow everybody out every single week. But Monday, under those circumstances, when your offense couldn't do anything, your defense picked the flag, carried it for you, and they played like champions.
Yes, they are going to have to play like that in order for them to be successful the rest of the season. I agree with you. But do you agree with the theory that is a championship defense from what you've seen so far? All of it put together.
Yeah, I believe that.
Okay.
Great win by my team. This is why I love my team. But I
see, Thier, I love you, buddy. But like when he says, "This is why I love my team," please tell me why you love your team. Because the reasons I heard before that you loved your team was because of Justin Herbert, was because of Jim Harbaugh. You wanted Greg Roman fired. Greg Roman fired. You wanted Joe Ortiz fired, even though Joe Ortiz is the guy that brought in Amari Hampton, who's brought in Kamani Vidal, who's brought in Naquan Jones, who's brought in Delshon Phillips, who's brought in Cam Hart, who's brought in Tarheeb Still, who's like, the list goes on. But he needs to get fired for malpractice. But this is why I love my team.
I have a very important message for you.
Oh, okay. Important message. Here we go.
This is going to be my last time calling on the show.
He's said this twice already this year.
We're on the third time.
I'll be expecting a call from Athir after the Kansas City game.
Oh, before.
For the rest of the year. Until you send me a message on X that me and you are going to be on the same page moving forward.
Clearly not. I'm not on the same page as Athir. For the record. Says, for the last time today. Hugo Boss. Is it though? Please ask Athir to say it's rabbit season. Does Athir live in a gingerbread house? I don't even know what the reference is for that. What, do you have a reference for that? I do love the AOL Instant Messenger logo, though. That's pretty sweet. Kind of looks like Cameron Dicker on the screen. Kind of nice. Look, Athir, it's all love. It's all good. I appreciate your fandom. I appreciate your passion. Love all of it. Sometimes you throw strays, and it's just too much for me sometimes. But it's all love. It's all love. Jake, special teams was, at least for the most part, pretty darn good. But Cameron Dicker, man, like, thank the heavens. Any other kicker on this team and you lose. Period.
Okay, so because this was my first experience at SoFi, for those of you who have gone numerous times, if you're not sitting right behind the goalpost, it's fucking terrifying. Because I found out, and I'm sure Dan's told me this before, but I probably forgot, that they take off the screen of what's being televised normally off of the orb that's over the field. And it just shows like, well, help, feel the lightning, see the thunder. And I'm just like, I don't give a shit about that. I want to see if the damn kick goes in. And I can't tell from the perspective that I'm looking at over there if it's actually going in between the field goal post. Like the one that Philly ended up missing. I couldn't even tell that they missed that until it was the reaction. And then I heard everybody else say that it was a missed field goal. But this man, Cameron Dicker, has been about as cold, calculated, and casual as nails as you could possibly be for someone in high-pressure situations like this.
Oh, I crumble.
Unbelievable.
The best part about it, Jake, the best part is it almost feels like he's like playing chess when others are playing checkers. Like other kickers, they're just kind of kick it straight, right? They're just trying to get it to the uprights. Cameron Dicker's over here like throwing curveballs and like knowing that they're curving, where like the ball goes and you know it's going to have a little left hook every single time and come right back in, almost always right through the uprights. I mean, it is as smooth of a kicker that I've ever seen. And like, again, not a hyperbole. Just absolutely unreal. But yeah, I was shitting bricks every time the field goal unit went out.
At least
every one of them was
the field goal. At least you were able to see the where the ball was going.
Man. Kobayashi says, I love to play golf with Dicker. Yeah, that'd be sweet. Beef Talaboy. Dicker was on the Eagles to start the NFL career. Yeah. Yeah, his run to get to the Chargers is wild.
Yeah, you think about the Younghoe Koos, the Michael Badgleys, the Dustin Hopkins that have played for this team before Dicker.
Hell, the Doug Flutie's kicked for this team.
Oh, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, I remember.
I didn't realize how far you were going back. I was
just talking about.
I was just talking about life after Nate Kading and Nick Novak.
John Carney, come on.
Good Lord.
Lambo.
You gave me an idea with that playing golf with Cam Dicker. Here should be the rules. You get your clubs, but he gets to kick the golf ball off the tee every single shot. I'm still giving the nod to Cameron Dicker to win that game.
Honestly, you give me a club and you get him a football. I bet you he gets it on the green before I do. Literally. Wouldn't be surprised. Jake, all right. We talked a lot about the offense, talked about special teams, kind of talked a little bit about Greg Roman, but we've gone this far without talking about this defense. And I mean, that felt like Christmas 5 days in a row with how many times that defense just bailed out this offense. And that was against, again, like people, and this is the thing, like people want to poo-poo the performance because, oh, the Eagles were slumping and, oh, that offense, like I was telling Jake this, we were talking about this in the pregame show. That's a damn good team, man. That's Saquon is still Saquon. A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Jalen Hurts, the offensive line, even with some of the guys that were out. You trade that offensive line in a heartbeat for what we have. No question. And your defense went toe-to-toe with both that offense and that defense and put the clamps on Jalen Hurts like you've never seen before. Again, not a hyperbole. I mean, you saw the secondary eat. I thought the interior defensive line was awesome in that game. Khalil Mack, I thought, was great. It might not show up in the box score, but Khalil Mack was great. I thought Dan Henley had a pretty damn good game. You felt him a few times in that game. I mean, Cam Hart, play of his career, I think, so far. I thought Tarheeb Still was fantastic. Derwin James was awesome. Elijah Molden was pretty darn good. Troy Dye was pretty damn good. Tony Jefferson with the play of the game to ice it at the end. I mean, that defensive effort was sensational. And they needed all of it. Every time they did that, it felt like the Chargers offense was like, nah, you can go back out there. It was unreal for how they were able to manipulate the flow of that game. Again, they're going to have to do that. Is that sustainable? I don't know. Jalen Hurts wasn't seeing things pretty in that game. But man, hell, the RJ Mickens thing, that was an interception. I'm sorry. There was not irrefutable evidence to me that hit the ground. They called an interception. There's no way, like, I will stand on that. And Jamari Caldwell punching the ball out on the fumble from Jalen Hurts. I mean, everyone, Tyler Tart, Thule, Perryman. Like, it was a collective team effort, man. And that defense was just hunting. It was so fun to watch.
Dan, up front, in the middle, and in the secondary, they just continued to bring it. You know, we talked about the lack of adjustments from Greg Roman. Jesse Minter made some adjustments, start of the game, in game, all the way to the finish. You saw the first play of the game offensively for Philadelphia. They took that deep shot to A.J. Brown. They had Tarheeb Still on him. Luckily, it was an overthrow. But you see the adjustment that was made to put Cam Hart on A.J. Brown for the majority of that game thereafter. 3 plays made by one player. Honestly, I know we're talking about a collective effort here and we're not taking anything away, but the tipped ball, A.J. Brown doesn't come down with it, Cam Hart comes down with the interception. That is a game-changing play that gets the Chargers back 3 points. What should have been a touchdown from A.J. Brown broken up by Cam Hart in the end zone. That takes 7 off the points right there. And then, of course, in overtime. That was an unbelievable effort by Cam Hart to jump that pass and get enough on it to tip it up for Tony Jefferson. And yes, Khalil Mack was obviously the start of that because he played that pass extremely well. was patient, knew it was time to rush it, and it forced Jalen Hurts to throw that ball off of his back foot and ultimately short. But Dan, just everywhere, this defense was coming to play. I loved what Jesse Minter did. We talked so much about, we thought that defensively with what Jesse Minter does from a zone game perspective was going to be good to match up with A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. Jesse Minter changed it up in the game. He was going a hell of a lot more man coverage, and he threw some different looks at Philly. And you forced Jalen Hurts into 5 total turnovers. And I got to tell you, the Deshaun Hand interception, which then turned into a fumble, which then turned into a fumble, which then turned into a fumble recovery, was about as the biggest Keystone Cops type of play I have ever seen. You need to run that play back and just play like the theme song to Benny Hill behind it, because that's what it felt like. But the emotions in that 8 seconds to go from interception, fumble recovery to fumble, and then ultimately fumble recovery was
longest 8 seconds of my life.
Nutty.
Like, again, like that game was insane, but like that's how playoff football goes. Like, it's wonky. That play itself was freaking crazy. And shout out to Troy Dye, man. Go back and watch replay of that. He's just following the ball, because like you never know, man. You never know. I think Scott Matlock also had a similar play on that Justin Herbert fumble where he recovered it afterwards, like Johnny on the spot. Like, that's important. That play was nuts. And like, I think the crowd was collectively just like, what is happening when that happened? Because on the field, like live, that game looked so much more chaotic than it did on the TV broadcast. Like, there are a couple plays where I'm like, what the hell is happening? It's like some of those RPOs or some of those fakes, like the tush push that wasn't a tush push to the Saquon Barkley run. I didn't even know they were trying the tush push.
They said that was the first time that a single player, so meaning Jalen Hurts, has turned the ball over twice in one play since the 1970s. It had been that long. Apologies, Dan. Go with the tush push fake.
No, but like it, for the most part, so I said this before the game. Like, the keys to win that game were you got to stop Saquon Barkley, or at least contain Saquon Barkley, protect Justin Herbert. Your defense had to go freaking nuts. That's 3. And 4 was you had to have a run game. And now let's fast forward to the end of the game. You tell me Herbert gets sacked 7 times, pressured 28. Historically high pressure percentage going into the fourth quarter. You tell me that Justin Herbert is your leading rusher with his broken hand. You tell me that your leading receiver on this Chargers team had a whopping, how many yards receiving did they have? Aside from Kamani Vidal, Bossi's receivers, 22 yards. Keenan Allen had 22 yards. Trey Harris, 18 yards. Ladd McConkey, 12 yards. Quentin, 8 yards. Those are the longs.
It's terrible. But you talk about the things that you needed to stop, Dan, defensively. We talked about the Eagles' struggles coming into this game. They were last in the league on first down. They're terrible. And the Chargers did a really good job of keeping them in 3rd and long for a majority of the game. Outside of that play fake on the tush push, you kept Saquon Barkley in check. You kept them in either 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. There really was no other tush push opportunities that they got. They didn't really have that many short yardage situations. Now, 3rd and 16 in overtime, that's one that you feel like you just got gutted. The 4th and 4 with Odafe Owe seemingly jumping offsides and giving him a fresh set of downs. Like, that's where you thought everything was unraveling.
Yep.
They get inside the 20 and you're like, fuck, they're going to put up 7 and they're going to take this game right now. No.
Forgotten locale. Did the Eagles even rush an actual tush push other than the faked one? No.
No.
No, they didn't. And so, school of the process, Saquon had under 80 yards on 20 carries minus the fake tush. Sure, if you want to take out the big play, but like it happened. But like that was great play call by them. Like that, we haven't seen that before. I mean, it was brilliant. Thought it was great. Like, unfortunately, it happened to Chargers, but like, good for them, man. But I mean, Saquon wasn't bottled up though. Like you saw a few times early on in that first half, you're like, oh, here we go. So Saquon not contained. So all of the recipe was for a loss, even with the balled out defense. But somehow, by the hands of Cam Hart, Dante Jackson, Tarheeb Still, Deshaun Hand, you get 5 turnovers. And you find a way to win that game at the end. When, again, you said it, that defense at the end of the game, when they got that field goal, I looked over at my buddy and I was like, when the Chargers got the field goal to go up 3 in overtime, usually I'm kind of like, shit, like here comes the touchdown, right? But I felt pretty confident. I was like, okay, field goal gives you a chance, right? Like this defense has been playing damn good all season or all game. Like I was pretty happy the Chargers got a field goal in that overtime because like I was talking to the group around me in the stadium. Like, how could any Chargers fan honestly say during overtime, when the overtime starts, that you are confident that they are going to score 3 points? When your quarterback has been smoked all game, your receivers can't go anywhere, your offensive line has been hot garbage, and the Eagles' defense has just been crazy. So when they got a field goal, I was like, oh, shit. But you mentioned it. That 3rd and 16, where Jalen Hurts, of course, throws like the best throw he's had all game. Like the guy was clutch, man. Like that was good. Then the Odafe Owe offside. You're like, come on. Like, I mean, it wasn't looking pretty, but they scratched and clawed all night. And for them to get that turnover at the end of the game, and again, shout out to Cam Hart for that one. And for Tony Jefferson, again, like, I think I've seen him on social media a few times with the, like, stop playing with me, man. Like, I don't know how he stays off the 53 anymore. It feels like every time.
He's not.
Every time.
He's not going anywhere.
And it was interesting. Like, there are some photos, and shout out to the Chargers photography folks, where I think Tony Jefferson was talking to Nick Sirianni after the game, like was chirping a little bit.
He gave him a look right after he got up to go celebrate that interception.
Yeah, and then he's also giving a look to this guy. I don't know who this is. And then there's also, I don't know if you saw, but follow that play and follow the group of corners that leave. And there's a Philly receiver, I believe, that was like sprinting and following them down from the sideline without a helmet. I don't know who it was. I'm not sure what happened, but man, at what, like the 3-yard line, he gets an interception. Like that's about as anxiety inducing as you can get. And Tony Jefferson, I mean, he was all of us, right? Like that's how I looked after that game, is Tony Jefferson on the right-hand side, like sweating, tired, emotional, happy. Like it was just unreal. And again, team victory, team defense, how apropos. Like even on that play, right? Like Cam Hart tips it to Tony Jefferson, Khalil Mack with the assist, if you will, with the pressure. Someone in the chat earlier was talking about the interception that AJ Brown with the tip pass, that Denzel Perryman should get an assist for that. Absolutely. You know, if you go back and watch AJ Brown, those are alligator arms because you saw Denzel Perryman hunting. I mean, what can you say about what Tony Jefferson's doing this year? I mean, again, he wasn't playing football 2 years ago. Comes back last year. Does pretty good last year, right? Then this year, he says he's in better shape. Still not on the 53. And then just completely takes over games at the most improbable, important times. Again, unbelievable. This game had everything. And when that play happened, Jake, I don't know about you, I didn't know what happened. Like, first I thought it was caught. Then I thought it was just incomplete. Then I see Deion Henley tackling him. I'm like, what is happening? And then I see everyone just sprint off the field. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, I could not see it from my side, again, because it was on the far side of the field. And I felt like it was going to be a repeat of the RJ Mickens moment, where it's like, wait, did he actually catch that? He did? Holy shit.
Just unreal. And you saw at the end of the game the joy, right? Like, you saw how much this freaking game means to this team. And it all went away, right? Like, all of the emotions were spent. And you see, I'll go left to right. You see Jim Harbaugh and Jesse Minter like bear hugging. Derwin James after the words in the locker room, just, emotions flowing, sweating out of his pores. Jesse Minter just getting hyped with Tony Jefferson afterwards. You see Joe Ortiz out there just like bear hugging Tony Jefferson. This is why Jim Harbaugh was brought in. For December football to mean something. And, sure, is Jim Harbaugh corny at times? Does he go a little too far with some of his hyperbole and all that stuff? Yeah, sometimes.
That made the Harbaugh files, by the way, on the Rich Eisen show. What did this game mean? Like, how much did this game mean to you? It's up there with the birth of my kids and my marriage. It's in the conversation. You gotta love it.
When have you seen this from a Chargers team in December that is this connected? And I'm talking, you don't see Greg Roman here, but head coach, coordinator, GM, players, all connected. When is the last time we saw that? It has been a long ass time, especially in December. I'll tell you that. We're in uncharted territory here. And I think what's important now is you look at who this Chargers team has beat so far. They have beat 3-time Super Bowl appearing Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles. I don't care what you want to say about that Steelers team. That's a hard win to get. You beat a 2-loss Denver team all in 1 year. You're now 5-0 in primetime, 4-0 in the division, firmly in the 5 seed. I think you're 3.5 games ahead of the Chiefs right now. People want to say that they called it, they knew it. Y'all are lying, man. There's no way y'all thought this Chargers team at 9-4, without their best tackles, without their best running backs, without their best pass rusher at time, without all these dudes. Like, it is a damn miracle that this Chargers team is 9-4. And that's a Harbaugh culture thing. That's a leadership thing. That's a mentor thing. That's a, clearly Justin Herbert thing, right? Like, unreal. How far can they go? I don't know. But like right now, I'm kind of like, you know what? Like, let it ride. Let it ride. There really is no like juggernaut AFC team. Like, every team feels like they have a flaw.
Definitely.
But unfortunately, like, the flaw of the Chargers is like the kryptonite of any successful team in the playoffs. But hey, that was the strangest, most asinine Chargers victory I've ever seen against a damn good football team. So if that can happen, I guess anything can happen, right?
Chargers football in full swing is what Monday night was.
Unreal. I guess the Texans game, Jake, got flexed. You see that?
Got flexed. So you now have another primetime opportunity. December 27th. I believe it's on at 1:30 Pacific time. Part of that doubleheader, I think, between Baltimore and Green Bay, if I remember that correctly. So celebrate Christmas.
It's a standalone game.
That is a huge game, even though that is essentially 3 weeks away. That's pivotal for this Chargers team, and it may be. I mean, we'll see where Houston's at in 3 weeks, but I don't see them slowing down. That defense is they are full of dogs over there in Houston.
That team scares the shit out of me. We went through a ton here. Unfortunately, and it's kind of interesting timing wise, Jake. Like while the Chargers were, I think it was like maybe early fourth quarter, where the Chargers were just like the offense was just in a bad spot. And I tweeted out like the unfortunate part is like it's not going to get any easier moving forward.
No,
like it might actually get harder. Although, like game to game, that was about as dominant of a defensive effort as I've seen from that Eagles team. Like it's
going to get harder. Think about this. You now have Kansas City in possibly the most desperate game that they have been in. I'm not even going to talk about the Super Bowl because they've been there, done that, they've won them. But to just keep their playoff hopes alive to win this game. And as Dan loves to repeat, imagine the euphoria if it is indeed the Chargers that because of the tiebreakers, where they're at in the season, if you go to Kansas City and Arrowhead and you know how tough it is to win there, and you beat them, and you essentially end their playoff chances, putting them at 6-8 on the season. Damn, that's impressive, given the elements that you have. Now, I will say this. I expect, because Kansas City's defensive line is not Philly's defensive line. I'm not going to make any promises when it comes to certain offensive linemen, but I will make a statement that I would assume that they're going to collectively play a little bit better than what we saw from them on Monday Night Football. Justin Herbert was already talking about his hand feeling a lot better. I think you're going to get a much better performance out of him. Why? Because he's going to have time. I think your weapons around him collectively, after the lack thereof of help that was out there for Justin Herbert to throw to, I think you're going to see a much better game from them as well. Is it going to be tough? Is it going to be competitive? And is it going to rely on the defense for you to win that game? 100%. And it's going to be that way against Kansas City, against Dallas, against Houston, and we'll see where Denver's at to finish the season. Depending on what their record is, it may end up being a rest game for them. I would love it if it actually ended up 3 weeks from now, certain things change, and that game could potentially be for the AFC West division.
Can you imagine?
What the hell, dude?
We're in crazy hours. Matthew Dahl with a $5 donation. Shout out to Henley grabbing Jefferson and pulling him down after the interception. Does this win feel like the Broncos?
Nobody wanted the Marlon McCree 2.0 situation. And with the way that fumbles were going on in this game,
it probably would happen.
Drop, just stay down for 10 seconds. Let's blow the whistle, and then let's go celebrate.
Tammy the Tyrant says, I can't believe that you said Herbert didn't have a good game.
When did we say that? I believe Dan actually had a slide that said Herculean Herbert. Look, even he's going to tell you that he didn't have a good game. The box scores say that he didn't have a good game, but we're not saying that the man was terrible. We knew what he wasn't getting from his offensive line. We knew what he wasn't getting from his wide receivers. We knew what he wasn't getting from the game plan. And then when it came down to it, Herbert said, fuck it, I'm going to do it myself.
By any means necessary.
Broken hand at all, stiff arming defenders. He takes off for 10 carries, 66 yards, and puts that team in a position to win. Is it a Justin Herbert game by the standards of what we have come to know from Justin Herbert? No. There were tons of elements that he needed to battle, and he's going to tell you that he didn't have a good game. That was a rough game to watch.
He said so himself. That was a hard game to play. Like, did he have a good game? Like, I don't think he had a good game. I don't. Did he do the best with what he could at times? 100%. Did he take over at the end? 100%. But I don't think it's me being overly critical to say, like, Justin Herbert wishes he had some of those throws back. Justin Herbert wishes he got rid of the ball a couple times. Justin Herbert didn't help himself a couple times. Like, we could be critical. We could be logical and realistic. We don't have to just, like, blow smoke up people's ass and say, oh, he was the first thing since Jesus. Like, stop, right? Again, that was a gutsy, gritty-ass winning football when you needed it most. Your quarterback came through. Like, take nothing away from him on that.
I think I love the fact that Herbert proved something to a lot of people.
Yes.
That wasn't in the box score.
Correct.
That's what it was.
And it's funny because I saw a lot of people in the national heads talk after the game about, like, oh, Justin Herbert proved something to me that I haven't seen before. I'm like, this ain't effing new. The things that they were talking about, this isn't new. The thing that was new was Justin Herbert going against what the play call was and taking over on his own. Like, that was new. And to me, that was the story. Was like I'll be damned. I don't care if I have one hand. I don't care if this is supposed to go to Hampton. I don't care if I shouldn't be doing RPOs. I'm doing it myself. Thank me later. That's the story. But no one really is talking about that. Everyone's talking about, oh, you haven't seen Justin Herbert, come in clutch at the end. Or you haven't seen Justin Herbert tough out games, and you haven't seen Justin Herbert, be the villain. He's usually the Disney prince. Like, what? Like, have you not seen this guy with broken rib cartilage against the Chiefs? Have you not seen this guy week 1 against the Chiefs his rookie year with 2 busted ankles, like 2 busted hands? He was Edward Scissorhands last year. Like, this guy plays through all of it. And yet that was the game. But whatever. Like, I just accepted, like, people just don't like, I don't know if they look like Justin Herbert or they're jealous or just ignorant. I don't know what it is, but, like, I don't know, man. Some of the national narratives are just hilarious. But anyways, I get off my soapbox here for a sec. If Herbert starts overruling Roman's calls, I'll be impressed. That's what happened. Not to no, I'm not going to run the shotgun play. I'm going to run a quarterback. Like, that's not that. But they said it. The offensive line was surprised that Hampton didn't have the ball in that overtime game. So, look, I don't know. Jake, a few minutes left here. Let's get to some of these questions and hot takes. Dan, Jake, question. Is this defense capable of carrying our Bolts to playoff success with all the uncertainty of the offense?
Yes.
Well, first, hold on. Define playoff success.
Since the bar is so low, technically, you secure a playoff win, get Justin Herbert his first victory. I say that that's a success. But if you're able to go beyond that, and again, the ultimate X factor for that is this Chargers offensive line, your defense is capable of doing such things.
Hanan Derry, when scrambling is not going against the play call, it's not just the scramble. Like, the play was designed to give to Hampton for the inside run. And Justin Herbert saw the play develop and said, I am not doing that. I'm going to keep this ball and I'm going to run. It's not like an off-script thing. It was like he did not run the play that was supposed to be executed. I don't think that's that crazy. Dan, Jake, question. Is it true that Laura Rutledge thought Justin Herbert was rude to her about doing on an interview? What happened in the interview? So,
first of all, Laura Rutledge does not think it's rude. Yes. Everybody else, for some reason, thinks that it's rude. And I was really hoping that we weren't going to bring this up today, but all right,
No,
here we
but
go.
it's I think it's a non-story.
It should be a non-story,
Yeah,
and I'll
I
tell
agree.
you why. For those that are looking at that, to say for 2 seconds Justin Herbert is not acknowledging Laura Rutledge in that type of a moment, what followed? 4 questions were asked and 4 questions were answered. There were 2 jobs that were done, one by Laura Rutledge, who's doing her job. There's nothing wrong with what Laura Rutledge did. And Justin Herbert did his job and answered the questions.
And he also was quite literally said, "I'm sorry, I'm just trying to enjoy this with my teammates."
I think it is the dumbest narrative that people are trying to paint out to say that Phillip Rivers is being rude or being an asshole. If you go back and if you can find the clip that has the double shot of Tony Jefferson making the interception and then Justin Herbert's face, he's literally in shock. He can't even believe that just happened. And he feels that way because he knows that it was a tough road just to get that victory. And he knows at times that he didn't, and he even said this to Laura Rutledge, that he himself needed to play better than what he played. That he didn't want, he said it was rough sledding. He didn't enjoy, he's never going to enjoy putting this team in tough situations. And so what everybody fails to realize is the emotion in that moment after a gritty, gutsy win to want to celebrate with your teammates. No, Justin Herbert was not being rude. And for anybody who, I know that there's people out there that just love to doom scroll and criticize and judge just virtually anything and share their opinion on it, which they can, but they just choose to share it more freely than others and look at the negative aspects of things. Look, I can say to you, if that is what you would like to do, that is totally fine. I could point out 100 different things if you just spent about another 5 minutes doing that doom scrolling that you like, that you could point out that is 10 times more negative than what Justin Herbert did, that is 10 times more rude than what Justin Herbert did. Give me a break. Yes. Do something else. Keep doom scrolling to find a different subject, but take your judgment away from this because this is ridiculous.
Yeah, James Wagner, Justin simply doesn't enjoy the media spotlight. 100% true. And again, even if he does, right? She wanted to do an interview. He said, I'm paraphrasing, but I think he said something along the lines of, I'm trying to enjoy this with my teammates. Like, that's not being rude. Like, by definition, that's not being rude. She asked, you can say no. He didn't even say no. And again, given the context, the guy just got bum rushed for 70 minutes. And somehow, miraculously, the defense comes up with a game-ending interception. It just happened 20 seconds ago. Like, give the man a break. The guy has a broken hand. I'm sorry. Like, it was such a non-factor, non-story. And again, Laura Rutledge herself.
Yeah, there's no shade being thrown here at Laura Rutledge. Laura Rutledge did her job, and she's not even pissed off about it. For some reason, it's everybody else that chose to make this a story.
Again, like, people want to find a reason. Whatever. Again, Stokakine, haters gonna hate. Yes, I agree. Hanan Derry, no, it's a quarterback design run where he fakes handing the ball to the running back because the edge takes this. I'm not going to argue with you, Hanan. Like, they talked about it. That ball was supposed to go to Amari Hampton. What do you think about the Sharon Moore stuff? A lot of people in the chat asking about this.
That escalated really quickly in a matter of an hour. I know there was a bunch of people talking about it earlier. Dan, I hope to God that El Capitan starts on Sunday, and I would love to watch him come off the couch on just days of practice and beat the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, it'd be great.
This is one of the best things that I have ever heard. And to see him back up there at the podium and his first comments to hear him say, oh, there's no Zoom meetings because the last time that he played was during COVID season. Everything that Justin Herbert said today is just a reflection of why we as lovers of this franchise and during the tenure of the time that he was here, it's why you have to love this guy. The fact that he was literally on the brink of being nominated to possibly go for the Hall of Fame, probably not first ballot, but he's for eligible. He's been retired for 5 years. He's ready to go. To then make a decision, gets a call, Colts wanted him given their quarterback situation, and to come out and say the things that he said in his press conference today.
Great.
Just
give me more. Give me more.
The ultimate football guy, the ultimate competitor. That is who Phillip Rivers is, always has been. And I hope to God that he is able to carry that team to a playoff run. And Dan, honestly, tell me this, 4 games left in the season. I don't know necessarily what it takes for a comeback player of the year award, but if Phillip Rivers takes that team to the playoffs and is able to get a playoff win,
5 year later comeback. I mean, come on.
That should be more than enough to give someone an accolade for comeback player of the year. I don't even give a shit if the man has been retired for 5 years. You talk about those circumstances. 44 years old. People are asking him what his playing weight is. Like, well, it ain't what it was when I retired.
But I'm not running away from anyways.
I like how he followed it up. It's like, but that doesn't really matter because I wasn't running away from people anyways.
Man, he is so good. He's a grandfather is playing NFL football. If he starts like that, let that sink in. Carry the meme. Jake, we didn't get to all these voicemails. Maybe we'll get to some other ones as we get to the preview show coming up for the Chiefs. But man, that was a hell of a win. Gutsy win. Appreciate everybody on the show. Like, guys have been crazy. It's been so fun. I'm still processing. I cannot believe this team is 9-4. Like, I cannot believe this team is 9-4. And like, look at the teams that they have a better record than. Like, it's just nuts. Arguably, maybe it was definitely the craziest game I've ever been to. Like, in terms of just like bonkers. That just felt like a playoff game. That was awesome. Anything else, Jake, before we get out of here?
Dan, we said the last 5 games of the season are going to be a gauntlet with 1 down, 4 remaining. Again, think about this moving forward. Maybe you can exclude the Denver game because time will tell on whether that game ends up being meaningful at the end of the season. But these next 3, as I mentioned, Kansas City is in its most desperate mode right now. They essentially have to run the table. They cannot afford another loss for their playoff chances.
But also they said that last week too. So
right. But
yes.
really now you can't. So you're now about to go up against a desperate Kansas City team in Arrowhead. Beyond that, Dallas, because of the Philly loss, is still alive for the playoffs. So that game is definitely going to mean something here in 2 weeks. You know what Houston's playing for and what that defense means. I mean, we said it. You were in playoff mode going into this Philadelphia Eagles game. It's going to remain this way at least for the next 3 weeks. We'll see what the last week of the season ultimately ends up meaning against the Denver Broncos. But you got to brave the elements. Your defense has to come to play. And if there's one thing that you take away in that film room, all 11 guys on offense need to play better. Whether it's the Kansas City game or anything moving forward, they need to find a way to play better than that. And truth be told, they will. They will.
You celebrate the victory. Like, that was a monumental, massive win. Period. You celebrate it. But that was not sustainable. What you saw on Monday night is not sustainable. You cannot win with an offense that is that affected by a defense. You cannot win without scoring that like touchdowns. You can win 1 or 2, but like, you can't do that consistently. Your defense can play great, but you're not getting 5 interceptions or 5 turnovers every game. The offense has to play better. The defense will come back, but they could still be great, right? Like, but if that happens for the next 4 weeks, there are going to be some gruesome injuries, period. Like, you can't have that and expect people to come out of it unscathed. So you take the good, right? You see what happened. You got the win. Awesome. I'm not sure what the offensive line could do to change, but like whatever they're going to do. Honestly, the recipe for disaster was that they have both the front and the secondary, the Eagles do. Whereas most people aren't going to clamp down on the multiple receivers like the Eagles secondary do.
Houston's got the front and the secondary as well.
So does Denver. I know. But I'm saying like, I don't know. We'll talk about that later. This was fun. I'm still tired.
I'm not reading the sleeper ad again, so don't ask me to.
Okay.
Thank you guys again for joining. Like I said every time, these live shows mean a lot to us. We love your interaction, whether it's here, whether it's on X. We just love talking Chargers football. We appreciate all of your guys' support of this channel, of us, helping it grow. Your questions, your comments, it really does mean a lot to us. So whenever Dan and I do live shows, which has turned out to be a lot here over the last couple of weeks, we always get fired up for it. We bring the extra emotion because we know that you guys are bringing it too. And we appreciate every single one of you for tuning in. We'll look forward to previewing the game against the Kansas City Chiefs here in the next few days. So definitely look out for that. Outside of that, Dan, it's going to be a hell of a sprint to the playoffs these next 4 weeks. I'm excited about it. It's Christmas time. As John Harbaugh likes to say, it's the competitive season, not the Christmas season. So let's get competitive.
I'm going to need a ventilator if the next 4 weeks are like what we saw on Monday. Because, man, my body cannot take that. But I'm here for the ride. Whatever. I'll be white knuckling the whole way. I echo everything Jake said. You guys are amazing. If you haven't done so already, hit the like and subscribe. We got a giveaway going on for the Big Dicker Energy t-shirt on X. Go to the Unleashed handle. You'll see that. Anyways, get some rest, folks. Love your loved ones. Tell them you love them. Give them a hug. Enjoy the holiday season. This is what it's all about. December football is incredible. Enough the mushy-gushy stuff, Jake. For you, I'm Dan. It's Chargers Unleashed. We'll talk to you guys next time. Have a great week. We'll see you next on Chargers Unleashed.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening. Happy holidays. Want to give your host a gift? Consider subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show this holiday season. It really helps the show grow. From all of us at Believe, have a Merry Christmas, everyone, and a Happy Holiday.